Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Ending Body Burnout Show. Philly and I are going to be chatting to you today about our retreat and retreats in general, specifically about ours, but also retreats in general too.
Yeah, and more specifically, the subconscious blocks that I've worked through to hold this and retreat and essentially create it. So the last 6 or so months, I've been dreaming about holding a beautiful, healing, transformative retreat for our community. And really the last 6 or so years, Chris and I have always had that on our dream board to one day start holding transformational in-person retreats. But last year I had an experience where my heart really stirred around this, and I knew that now is the time to start crafting, curating, turning this dream into reality. However, for the last 6 months or so, my rational, logical mind kept putting it aside. It kept saying to me, no, it's too much work. Don't add another project. What if no one comes? What if we don't make any money from it? Blah, 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 blah. And for many, many months, I actually let my mind rule. Yet along the way, my heart kept prompting me to create a retreat. And every time I listened and I broke through yet another layer of subconscious blocks, I then started taking full-blown action. And this retreat really, like in the last couple of weeks, has gone from just an idea and a dream to actually it's happening and people are booking in, and I'm so excited for this to happen. I thought that in today's episode I would share what I've worked through and moved through to take this dream into reality. And if you haven't heard yet, we are holding a retreat in August, the Body Knows Retreat. It is going to be held at the Cove, Tasmania, which is in northwest Tasmania, in the most beautiful location. We have got beautiful luxury villas perched on the cliffs, and the wild Tasmanian ocean is crashing onto the rocks. And the moment that you step into that space, transformation happens without us even starting to instigate it. So I'm so excited. And essentially the journey that I went through to break through these subconscious blocks is essentially the journey we're actually going to take you through in the Body Knows Retreat. So if you have been eyeing off this retreat, take this as your sign to jump on in, follow your heart. It may feel scary. You might have a bunch of reasons why you can't come. It's not the right time. I don't have enough money. How could I leave the kids? Can't take a day off work. Whatever. Like if the heart is saying yes to this, you can make it happen and it's going to be magical. And I just know that the people who end up at this retreat in the room with us are the people who are meant to be there. And I'm so excited for this to happen.
It's going to be good. Picture this. When you're driving, there's this beautiful long straight road. It's called the Lillico Strait in northwest Tassie, and it goes from Devonport to a place called Ulverston, and you're going along this straight, and on the right, as you're driving towards Ulverston, there is this huge bay, huge bay. Little penguins come in, and they've got their nests in there, and so you can go to this conservation viewing platform.
I think it might be off season in August, but there's still be plenty to see.
Yeah, so you can go to this one spot in Lillico Strait, and the Lillico penguins, they come in, but then just up at the headland, right up at the top, just before you get to the strait, is this big hill. that overlooks this whole bay, and then you can see out in towards Ulverston and this place called Burnie, and then beyond that to Wynyard, and there's this thing called Table Cape. Google it. There's these wonderful tulip farms. It's magical. So from the cove where we're going to be holding our retreat, you get this on a clear, beautiful day. You can see just this amazing sweep of northwest Tasmania. You go to the other side of it, hike up the mountain, you look back towards Devonport and where we live in Shearwater, Port Sorell kind of area, out towards Narontapu National Park. Guys, my words are not doing this justice, is it, Phil? Like it is just like the most
even the
magical.
Photos don't do it justice.
No, it's
we live in paradise, and if you haven't been to our little slice of heaven in Tasmania,
it's amazing. It's so
one
beautiful.
must come.
Yeah, and there's so many little nooks and crannies at the cove that they've done such a great job where you can sit and reflect. And so Philly and I have some beautiful, wonderful things that we'll take you through at the retreat, but then you get some time for you with you as well in the most healing and transformative place. Plus, they've got the coolest Highland. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
cows,
look up Highland cows.
Alpacas.
They're just
giant fluffy sheep.
The cutest, coolest cows ever. And so as you're coming up into the cove, you go past these beautiful creatures, and then you get to the cove. It's amazing, guys. We can't wait to see you guys there.
Yeah. And so we are now open for bookings. We've already had a bunch of lovely body whisperers. We're calling our retreat guests body whisperers because essentially during the retreat you're going to listen in to what your body's trying to tell you and where it's trying to guide you to go, and we'll be breaking through subconscious blocks, stories, blocked emotion, using coaching and also a lot of really bodily trauma-informed somatic processes so that when you leave the retreat, you will be able to take beautiful, aligned, massive action to create what you want in your health and or your life. So we do have an early bird special happening at the moment. So if you book in before the 14th of May, 2026, you will receive a $500 discount. So an early bird special. After that, the price will go up. And there's 4 different types of villas available. Already the Cliffside Villa is sold out, and we only have 3 of the Lilyco outdoor hot tubs left. So these beautiful villas are getting snapped up. So I definitely wouldn't wait if your heart is saying yes. Maybe not yet. Maybe it will at the end of the podcast. Maybe it will tomorrow. Who knows? Jump on to the show notes and you can check out the retreat. Okay, so let's dive into where it all started. For the past 18 months or so, I have really been leaning into living my life from my heart and operating from my heart. So my old default mechanism was living from my head. I was like massively in my head all the time and trying to like rationalize, logic my way out of problems, getting stuck in the amygdala part of the brain of the what ifs, and I couldn't do that and I shoulds and I have to's. And it was kind of exhausting. It was where a lot of my old perfectionism patterns were running from, and overdoing patterns. And part of my own healing journey of healing from body burnout was really learning to understand the signals from my body and learning to lead from my body, which is a big part of what we do with our clients inside our Ending Body Burnout Method program. And more recently, I guess my next evolution was going even deeper than the body and really understanding the beautiful intuition and wisdom that lives inside my heart, as it does with every single person. It's just a forgotten language and expression that we haven't been taught to really cultivate. So I think about my heart as my intuition. It's the deepest part of me that wants the best for me. And honestly, when you are living from your heart, it is the most magical place to live from. I experience more joy, more awe, more wonder, more happiness, and a really deep sense of trust with myself and life and the process of being in this universe as a human. So it is lovely. And sometimes, like I definitely still lead from my body as well. Sometimes if I have forgotten my heart, my body will speak up. And these are the skills and the techniques and the relationship with self that we will take you through on a journey during the retreat. So last year I did a spiritual transformational course with my meditation teacher, Thomas McConkie. And a big part of that was learning to listen from the heart. And I was having many months of really practicing into this. And something in my heart was calling for me to personally attend other people's retreats. And I was writing out or renewing my dream outcome and what I wanted for myself and my life. And retreats just kept coming up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I think I can commit to attending one retreat a year. Maybe even two was on my dream outcome. And by one, it would be a bit more of a logistical plan to get there. So either an interstate, I haven't attended an international one, but even going from Tasmania up to Queensland is a little bit of a journey and requires some logistical stuff at home for me to be able to leave by myself to do what I want to do. So as soon as I committed to this, I got an email from one of our past clients, Melissa Marsden, who had just announced that she was putting on her retreat called Exhale, which I attended last year. And I've actually shared my story on our podcast back in November around the wonderful, honestly life-changing experience I had at her retreat. And during the retreat, this is where my heart started speaking to me, and it was saying, hey, this is a beautiful and wonderful experience for myself, and I can see how transformative it is. I was literally struggling with a problem in my life and in myself for maybe 3 or so months before attending the retreat. And I was actively working through breaking through it and resolving it, and was still struggling. And in 3 potent days at this retreat, I had broken through it, actually in day 2. And part of that was my heart was desiring more play, more creativity, more connection with others and to the land, more spaciousness, more adventure. And there were 3 action points that I took as part of that. So one was our 4-week camping.
When was Melissa's thing again?
That was last October 2025.
October, and then, cool.
Yeah. So we went on a camping trip for 4 weeks around Australia, which was epic. And that really was coming from a place of listening to my heart and just trusting what my heart wanted. And then also I auditioned for a musical production as part of that too, because my heart wanted to sing. And I just kept getting these visions of being on stage and singing and dancing and being with a group of people and creating something magical. And I'm doing that with Chris in May this month, which is great. So if you haven't booked your tickets for Sunshine on Leith in Devonport, if you're a Tassie person or traveling down here in May, book your ticket. Might actually put that in the show notes. And then the third thing that was an action step was hold a retreat, Philly. Hold a retreat for your people. And I had a bunch of beautiful ideas, but that again, as I said, was put on the back burner. It's too much work for that one. I'll go have fun and play with these other things. And so anyway, I put it on the back burner, and as I said before, my heart kept sending me these promptings. It's come on, hold the retreat. You know you want to. You know that this is going to be magical. I actually didn't really know why I was getting this heart prompting to hold the retreat. All I know, and I still don't know why, all I know is that something magical is going to happen as part of putting this on. That might be for the people who are there. I'm sure it will be. Maybe it will be for me. Maybe it will be what it would lead to. I don't know. I'm just trusting to go with my heart. Now, in order for me to go from too hard, don't do it, to we are now doing it and we've got people booking in, I actually as I was looking back, I'm like, how did I break through this? Oh, I used a framework called Align, which is actually going to be the framework that will be the train that will take you through a transformational destination or journey in our retreat. Do you want to just give we might do a full podcast on Align later on, but do you want to just give a quick recap on what the Align framework is? So when I share my story, I'm going to tap into the 5 phases or steps.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so Align is actually an acronym. So A is awareness. Most of our processes start with the awareness piece, and we talk about in Align, we talk about being aware of where you are. And if you think about what being aligned is, it's a really good metaphor as well for coming back on track. So if you feel like you've gone off track in your life, or you feel like I'm not where I want to be, or you feel like something's not right, you might not have another way of describing it, or you feel stuck. The awareness piece is the first bit. It's like, I am here. I am where I am. I am not where I'm not. I'm not in this fairy tale unicorn fluffy duffy rainbow land. I am in this part. I am in this location. I am doing this. I am being this. I'm having this. So awareness is the very first part of Align. L stands for leaning in, or letting it. And leaning in is really about finding the edge, finding your comfort zone, finding where you are safe, but where you feel a little bit scared, where you feel a little bit of an aversion or a resistance or a frustration or an uncomfortable sensation or an emotional situation going on, and you feel like, there's a real edge there. Any further, any more leaning in, any more feeling this feeling, and I'm over the edge into this. So L is all about leaning into it, but only to the edge, not going over the edge, staying safe. And then I is all about receiving insights and inspiration, that inner knowing, the I in insights. And then there's also, how do you spell Align? G is about grounding, coming back down, coming out of your head and into your body, connecting with yourself, connecting with the environment around you. And N is all about navigating. It's like, okay, now I'm aware of where I am and what's going on for me, and I've leaned into it. I'm not running away anymore. I'm done with that. And you're also receiving insights. You're also receiving insights from your body, and you're aware of the knowledge that your body is whispering or shouting at you, to you, for you. And then you feel grounded, and then navigate is all about, all right, these are the cards I've got. This is the game I'm playing. This is how I want to play this game moving forward to get me from where I am to where I want to go. I need this resource. I need that resource. I'm going to leave this behind. I'm going to bring more of this into my life. I'm going to call into my community, my crew, these people. I need this. I need that. I don't want this. I don't want that. Navigate, get you on track. So that's Align.
Awesome.
As you could probably tell, we need this retreat. The time and the space
the 3 days
to go through this with you is so deep. It's so potent.
Yeah.
And for our clients, know we could talk about this forever.
Yeah. And a little piece with the grounding that I think you missed is grounding isn't just about being present and regulating. It's actually creating deep subconscious safety. And so that's often where the big breakthroughs, if your body is holding on to something, where it's can't do that, too scary, that's where, really using more bottom up practices, so more somatic practices to break through what you need to break through in order to feel deeply safe within yourself to move forward to do the thing that you want and need.
I like this thing that my youngest daughter and I talk about when she has some anxiety or some anxious thoughts, some fears of the future. She says, what if, Dad, or what if blah, blah, blah happens? And my favorite reply to her is, well, then it happens, or this goes on. And then now she will say, so what if, it'll happen. She kind of catches herself. But also we call them what ifsies. And so that's up here in fairy tale land. So grounding is all about coming down, feeling safe, getting out of that fear a lack, victim, slave mindset that might be up in your head and coming down to you, to reality. Let the rubber meet the road, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So, so I'm going to talk about awareness and leaning in terms of what was showing up for me. So I knew that when I started getting curious around patterns, sensations, emotions, I knew that there was something that was off inside of me, because I kind of started feeling like work, life, kind of like just my existence in general was feeling a bit like Groundhog Day. Not because anything was bad. If anything, life and business and family are the best, or were the best that they have ever been. But I was starting to feel a bit apathetic, a bit like ho-hum, sort of like I'd lost my spark, my mojo, my zest, my passion. And it was very confusing because, as I said, it is the best that I had ever felt in my whole life. That something was off. And it was also showing up to, like even with our last launch of the Ending Body Burnout Method program, usually I like show up really like energetically and I'm so excited for to happen. And it wasn't that I wasn't excited or I didn't want it to happen. I wanted to invite new clients in, but just that zest, like something was missing. And during that time too, we had a meeting with our financial planner. And I was kind of just explaining like this stuck feeling that I was having. And I can't remember. I think you said, Chris, maybe no, I said, oh, I think it's because.
Was it really smart? It was probably me.
No, I can't remember how it came up, but it's something around creativity. I was just feeling
I'm just kidding,
like.
guys. The smart stuff comes from her.
I was feeling like I was doing a lot of things and we were producing a lot of things and we were helping a lot of people, but I didn't have a lot of time for my creative soul to express. And then I said, isn't that like just what a business owner is? All business owners and entrepreneurs are creative. And I think you or Julie said, no, actually not all are. And I started crying. And I'm just like, why am I crying in this financial planning meeting? Like what's going on here? And I realized again, it was my heart trying to speak to me. It's like, hey, there's still like, yes, you're in this musical production now. Yes, you went on this like beautiful trip with your family around Australia, but something's missing in your business that is not allowing your creative soul to fully express. And again, I'm like, far out, it's this retreat again. It's this retreat that I keep putting off and keep putting on the back burner. So these were some, like in terms of patterns and awareness, that I knew something was off. There was also a period of time where I was feeling really resentful in our marriage and our work responsibilities, where I was like thrashing myself around, like saying, I do so much more work than you, Chris, blah, 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 blah. You just get off and do what you just, you just go off and do whatever your heart desires. And you don't really care about like being an adult or like holding responsibility. And I'm holding so much. And yes, there was a little bit of rejigging that needed to happen in that dynamic, which we have worked on. But the big thing, like that emotional resentment piece, was again just another signal that my heart and body was trying to get my attention about in terms of like birthing this retreat to life. And also like the benefit of rejigging some of our responsibilities so I had more time was that I did actually have more space and time now to create this retreat.
Just think about it this way. Everything that comes to birth requires a bit of friction, and it doesn't always have to be painful, that friction. You can find a little bit of joy and pleasure in that friction to bring things to birth. And so that friction that you were experiencing, it wasn't fun at first, but then you found your way.
Yeah.
To make it fun.
Yeah. Now, even then...
Read into that if you want.
Even then, though, I still hadn't taken action until I think it was like end of Feb or March. So all this time I was just getting more emotional signals, nothing physical. And then my body started speaking to me. It's like my unconscious mind, my heart was like, we have been sending you all these signals and you are so aware of them, but I still am not seeing you taking any action of creating this retreat. So, all right, let's pull the physical lever because we know that Philly responds to this. And so it was actually around the time of our last launch. My period was a week late. I feel like there's different reasons for that, but anyway, won't go into that. But period was a week late. And then I rarely, if ever, get menstrual headaches. But for a whole week of having my period, I had these really bad headaches, which is also during launch of our ending body burnout method. So that wasn't fun. And then at the same time, my daughter came home with the flu and we started our rehearsals for the musical production, so singing for like 5 hours. And then I got laryngitis, which again, I can't even remember the last time I had that, maybe as a kid. And I completely lost my voice. And it was like, that was the last piece of awareness and leaning into the discomfort that I needed in order to say, okay, right, I'm ready to work on this.
That was a fun time, guys, for a spouse.
For a spouse. And it was around that time. It was around that time too that like our relationship dynamic stuff really shifted as well, because all of a sudden I couldn't speak, and I'm like, I can't.
It was the most peaceful couple of weeks that I've. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I couldn't. Like, I had to reschedule all my clients. I had to palm off like podcast recordings to Chris and workshops because I lost my voice, and then that also gave me the reminder that, oh, I can palm things off. Like, I can delegate. And Chris is more than capable of holding like this space that I had been holding, so that I can have extra space over here to create this retreat.
And then I think also you became soft and let go of the reins a little bit, and which was really pleasant.
More feminine.
It was really enjoyable.
More flowful.
To be participant.
And okay, so these were my insights. So align, awareness, lean in. That was kind of like all of that all together combined. The deep insights were, well, then I wanted to get clear on, well, what are the blocks that are still standing in my way? So I got clear on stories that were coming to my conscious awareness. It's going to be too much work. What if no one buys? What if we invest all this time and money and, we run this retreat and we're at a loss? I also had some perfectionism patterns start showing up where it's like, it has to be perfect before I can press go. I have to find the perfect place. I have to like work out the perfect numbers of pricing. I have to work out like exactly what we're going to do before we can even advertise this retreat. And then a big one, so they were all there, but probably the deepest or like the biggest block was this fear of, can I be the woman to hold space for a transformational retreat for 3 whole days? Because to me, the woman that holds space for the type of retreat we're putting on is strong, and she's so grounded, and there's a deep presence, and she's intuitive, and she can hold others in that intuitive hold, and she's feminine and soft and nurturer, and she's the body wayfinder. She's the one that guides all of these other body whisperers, trying to understand what their body, their heart is trying to say, and she shines a light and helps them to find their own destination. So all of these were very feminine qualities, again, which were never default patterns in the past. I always operated very masculinely. And I would say over the last 5 or so years, very much unraveling, rewiring all of that. Yet still there was this underlying subconscious fear that I couldn't be that type of woman. Which was so interesting because all these stories and blocks, when I started bringing them to the surface, I'm like, there is so much evidence that these are no longer true, yet they were still sitting in my body and in my subconscious. And so these were the things. So the next part in Align is grounding. And this is essentially, like as Chris said, there's different ways that we ground, and it's not just about regulating and feeling relaxed and being grounded. At the depths of grounding is where the deeper subconscious rewiring happens, so that there's deep safety and trust, and that deep groundedness of feeling safe to be you, feeling safe to be you, to do and be whatever you want to do and be in your health, in your life, even when things are tough and rocky and wobbly. So this is what I had to break through. This is what I had to work on. And I did this in different ways. And in our retreat too, we're going to use different practices. We are going to use top down, bottom up practices. So top down is like, yeah, let's start with our very intelligent mind that is sharp and witty and knowing. And also let's bring the body on board as well. Let's actually like see where these blocks are in the body and work with those blocks. And let's access the heart. Like, what does the heart want? And if we follow the heart, you will get all the answers and all the things that you want. So, essentially that's what I was doing during this period of breaking through the blocks. I was self-coaching myself. I was having coaching from my own coach, Jamin, around, and what that looked like was a lot of like reframing, looking for evidence that it is possible, looking for evidence that I can put on a retreat, that we can feel the spots, that it actually isn't going to be too much work because it's going to be joyful. It's going to be devotional work. It's going to be fun and spacious and exciting and like the land is going to hold that as well. And so that doesn't work. That's actually play. And then I also started collecting all the evidence of how many people I have held space for to transform. And also like how many hours in a day I have been able to do that. So there was that little belief of like, could I really do that for 3 days? And when I actually looked at my calendar, I'm like, there are some days that I'm working with one-on-one clients back to back from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. with a lunch break. My energy sustains that because I am healthy and well and it feels good. So it's like, I can do this for 3 days. If I can do this ongoing, week upon week upon week for 100 plus clients at any given time in a month, I can hold space for this. And there were also like, again, I was collecting evidence around being this woman that is grounded, that is present, that is wise, that is intuitive, and finding evidence for how that is different in my parenting, in my marriage, in how I show up for clients, in how I show up for myself compared to in the past. Because essentially there was a little past self that was holding on to the fear of, but you're not feminine enough to do this. I remember Chris held a workshop for our clients around this time as well, inside our Ending Body Burnout Method, and it was all about journaling. So I jumped on it to like hold space for our clients as well, but I was also journaling for myself, and there was a lot of stuff around my being state, and I was journaling around like I am being, and I choose to lean into more being that is open and expansive and flowful and present and touchy and emotional and soft and slow. And again, anytime my heart whispered to me, hold the retreat, instead of shutting it down, I just expanded that feeling and that calling, whether that was through journaling or a conversation or visualizing it, to the point where I then took action. And so that all beautiful stuff. There was also some perfectionism things as well. Like I was like, oh, hang on, I don't need to know everything before I press go. Venue would be good to know. Let's find the venue.
Yeah, there's usually like a minimum. Like in perfection, there's a minimum required to get the tick.
Yeah, like for the retreat, it's like before we can sell tickets. Well, actually, no. And I've also found people who are experts in retreats who are just the type of women that I want to role model as retreat holders. Amber, I forgot her last name, is one of them, but she's like, I launched my retreat without even knowing the venue and I sold 20 spots. I'm like, oh, okay. So actually there's probably like not even a minimum. I can do whatever I want and I can be messy around this. My one North Star, I guess, was as long as I follow my heart, I know magic's going to happen with this retreat.
Yeah, and just thinking about having faith in the process that we will be taking you guys through.
Which is what we embody.
Yeah. Like I think at our next one, we could really, I guess the minimum would be a vague date, and it would be in Tasmania. Like that could be like, I mean, I'm just picturing myself. I don't know how you guys who are listening to this feel about that, but for me, that would be enough. Like I'd be good to go, and then just have the faith that are these guys going to actually run it? And like if that confidence tick was all ticked, those things, that's really all people would need to be able to make a decision.
Yes.
And then maybe not to put it like a full all down, but then again, who am I to tell you what you would be willing to do? But yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that helped me to let go of the perfectionism patterns too was staying intentional and getting clear around the intention behind the retreat. So number one focus is transformation. Do we need the perfect photos? No. Do we need the like the perfect food plan mapped out? What if the food runs out? But at the end of the day, if transformation is number one, then that is what is the North Star and what I trust in. And I know that both of us can create a space that is transformative, even if it was in a tent with baked beans. But it's going to be way better than that.
Oh, I'll transform you in the tent with baked beans. That's for sure. Did you think about that?
No, not at all.
And breathe in and breathe out.
Oh dear, so funny. Now, there were two other things, and this is why there is going to be a transformational breathwork session as part of this retreat. But
no baked beans.
No baked beans during that. But I did, I booked myself in for a transformational breathwork session in February and then another one in March. And again, in the February one, during the breathwork session, I connected back in with the heart, and it was just like, this is going to happen. But even between the Feb and the March breathwork session, I still hadn't taken action. But the dream was growing. Like the dream actually now felt like it's going to happen. I just don't know when or where or how. In the March session, I went in again with the intention that it's like, hey, I still feel a bit blocked with this. This is my intention to self. Is there anything else I need to break through in order to be able to take action with this retreat? And the most magical thing happened. So the first part of the transformational breathwork session, I mapped out everything that was going to happen in the retreat, including the name of the retreat, The Body Knows. It just kept coming as this like, almost like someone was whispering it to me. And I felt it in my body. I'm like, yes. And so I had this most magical experience during the transformational retreat in the first half of the session. Then the second half of the session, unexpectedly, I felt an overwhelming sensation of grief and sadness to the point that I started crying. And I was like, whoa, where is this coming from? It's like, everything is connected. So I think this is connected to the retreat and my intention, but like, what the heck? And then as this sadness started coming forth and I guess like essentially being released in my body or from my body, the memory of our first pregnancy showed up. So before we had our eldest child, Poppy, we struggled with infertility for about 2 or 3 years, finally fell pregnant. We were both so happy. And then at the 12-week scan, the baby had died at 8-week mark. And basically I'd been holding a baby for 4 weeks that was dead in my belly, feeling so excited about the life that we were bringing to life. So that was a really hard time. And what was confusing about it showing up in the breathwork was like, I've done so much work around this. And when I think back on it, I have no emotional charge around it. Like there's still that
like
that
negative,
element of sadness,
negative emotional
sadness
charge.
and grief and like loss, but it's not consuming. It's kind of like I feel like there's a lot of integration and it has been processed. And so So it was really interesting that showed up in the breathwork session. And then at the end of the breathwork session, I got this really clear image of me holding my 3 babies. So first baby, Poppy and Elsie. And then a big me holding all of us. And then,
cool.
it wasn't the world, but it was almost like humanity. So other people holding the big me and the little me and my 3 babies.
Group hug.
Group hug. But it was so beautiful and magical. And there were a few things that I feel really came through in that. One was like, I think I was just breaking through that last bit of fear around what if I birth this beautiful retreat into the world and I lose it? What if no one wants it? So there was elements of loss and grief and like fear that like maybe I'll put all this, not even work, but heart and soul into this and no one comes. But then on the flip side, it was actually something that has held in my body since the miscarriage of the grief that is stronger than the loss is the way that the community around us at that time, especially like came to support me. Like there were a few family members and a few key women. I'm even getting emotional about this, that came with so much love and so much support and so much femininity and so much nurturing that like I would never have had that if I hadn't lost our first baby. And what came through with that was this reminder that I can be and I am this woman that can now hold space for others because of all the loss, all the grief, all the body burnout, all the challenges with my health, all the trauma, all the relationship issues we've worked through in the past. Like I am the woman that can hold space for others in this retreat that my heart has been dreaming about. And after that experience, the next day I made a phone call to a retreat venue and started the ball rolling, put up a wait list. That venue actually fell through. But I'm like, this is still happening
for now, but maybe eventually.
Yeah, just like the timing wasn't quite right. But still a beautiful place, and we probably will do something there in the future. But it did not stop me. I was just like, okay, cool. I just made a decision that it's like this isn't the right space for this time. Chris and I dropped into the Cove, Tasmania the next day on the weekend. That was a Saturday. And then by Sunday, we'd signed the contract to like hire out the whole venue. And then it's like, cool, let's create a landing page. So all of that happened in like, by the time we, there was a bit of a waiting period with the first venue, but the moment that we switched to the other one, it all happened within like less than a week. This was 6 months of me trying to break through this thing. Actually, I didn't know. There was a lot of awareness first, but the breaking through actually didn't take a lot of time when I was ready to like move forward with it.
I think that miscarriages are beautiful, and I think that the little baby, the little soul that you held space for, had it. It took up space, and it literally took up space. It literally had place. It had space, and whatever happened with its life post that time and space happened, and I think that there's so much beauty, so much pain in creation that sometimes it doesn't come to our expected term. We don't give birth in the way that we expect, and that hurts. That is really painful, and I think that this is just a bit of criticism here. That I think that there's poetry, there's beauty in that, there's love in that. We love that little baby. We created emotion and support. And whatever happened after that. And I think that with this retreat is another baby that we're bringing to the world. And I mean, you think of the other venues and all this sort of stuff that were not carried to our full term of expected, but it's beautiful. We've had beautiful conversations. We've networked with some wonderful people, and it's been wonderful. It's been beautiful.
Well, yeah, and it was that baby made me a mother.
You can't take that away. That no one can take that away.
Poppy, like our living child, didn't make me a mother. The first baby did.
Yeah, totally.
And this is a bit segue. If you've listened to my experience at Melissa's Exhale retreat, a word that kept coming through that was mother love. I'm only actually just putting this connection together now as like the mother love and that nurturing and the physical touch, and that can just incubate so much change in oneself and others. And when you use the word poetry, I was actually going to look. I wrote a poem about that first baby.
Yeah.
And I was going to see if I could find it in the garage for this podcast, and I forgot.
I know exactly where it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I might read it, and we might put it at the end of the episode if we can find it. Yeah. Just because.
Well, I know where the box is.
Okay.
You don't have many memorabilia boxes. I've got a few.
And anyway, Navigation was the last piece in a line, which essentially is how am I going to make this happen now? And essentially that is like, you are now seeing that. You are seeing this beautiful sales page. You are seeing the emails. You are seeing the graphics. You are seeing our excitement. You are listening to this podcast. They're all the steps that will actually bring what is coming forth out of you into reality in your real world. So if you would like to come to the Body Knows, if your body is calling for you to listen into yourself and you would like us to be your body wayfinders to help you decode the messages, understand what your body's trying to say to you, rewire these deeper subconscious fears and blocks, and then take aligned action after the retreat, please join us. We would love to have you.
You can see on our on the share screen right here if you're watching the video. So if you were to jump onto our website, just up the very top of the page at the moment, you just click this button and that takes you to the retreat page. We tell you about who it's for, we tell you more information about it, and show you some beautiful pictures along the way of the location.
This is if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, and we take you through a little bit more about the Align method that we talked about today, go into what's going to happen, and then, you can choose your accommodation experiences. And then, as you can see down the bottom, Early Bird Special is available, ends on the 14th of May, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
We would love to have you. When is the 14th of May? That's a day before Sunshine on Leith. And while I've got your attention, here's another thing that I just want to share with you.
This is another love project coming from the heart.
There's another baby. So there's 10 shows across 3 weeks in May. So Early Bird Special for the retreat ends the day before we go live for our first opening night performance in Sunshine on Leith. But we'd love to have you. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. For those of you who are in Tasmania, we'd love to have you here. For those of you who aren't,
just fly down
and come visit us, and then come back again for the retreat.
We've got people flying down.
We do.
From Sydney and Queensland for the first opening night.
It is beautiful. I don't know if you can read this, but pause it here, have a read about the blurb. It's amazing. I'm playing the character Robert Henshaw. He's Scottish from Edinburgh.
And
he'd hate it if I said that. He's from Leith, which is a bit different.
And I'm playing lots of different characters in the ensemble because I am terrible at a Scottish accent, so I sing and dance for you.
She's very good at that.
I'm very good at singing and dancing and having fun.
Robert is not crash hot at that. Anyway, very good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once I start the Scottish accent, it's a bit hard to stop.
Can I stop?
I can't stop.
Can you stop?
I can't. I didn't can if I can. All right.
I'm off to watch Outlander now.
Right. You've got your own personal Outlander right here. Want to make another baby? Let's go make another
You're not
baby.
quite the same as Jamie, sorry.
Do I just need to get... right.
All right, peeps.
Yeah, cool.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello, I am back. This is a little PS note. So I went looking for that poem that I mentioned, the one that I wrote around the time that I had the miscarriage. I couldn't find it, but what I did find was an old journal where I wrote my experience in a really beautiful and poetic way. And I was umming and ahhing whether to share this. I'm like, oh, it's a little bit of a long read. So if you're not interested, you can jump off the potty now, wait until next week for our next podcast. But if you would like to stick around and just listen in for no other reason than just listening in on my personal journey around that time, so this is back in 2011, then yeah, would love to have you listen. So I was given this book by a dear friend who made this beautiful journal. And I woke up with anticipation pounding in my heart. Finally, I had made it. We had made it. 12 weeks today. 12 weeks of being pregnant. We're safe, I thought. Although lingering in the back of my mind was always that tiny glint of fear. What if there's nothing inside my womb? What if there's no heartbeat? What if it's severely deformed? What if? It seems to be the most common word during pregnancy. That mysterious loom of 9 months of liquid and blood and a blossoming belly and boobs. It was sunny as we drove to the radiographer. I remember that the shine glinting through the windscreen and shining in our eyes. I dreamt of what you would look like. I wondered if you would be awake as they poked at my swollen belly. If you would kick and squirm and give us a show. Chris couldn't keep the smile off his face, but we both knew somewhere deep inside us that there was always that possibility of. The little room was dim, like a cave for a mama bear weary of the light. The radiographer had me lay down on the hard bed and she squirted the clear cold gel on my belly as she pressed. I thought I was about to burst. How full was my bladder? And then there you were, a small smudge on the screen, cocooned at the ground of my uterus. I watched Chris smile, shiny-eyed at you, a boy. Of course you were a boy in his eyes. But the radiographer's silence was threatening. This wasn't how it should be, so quiet as if someone had died. She should be pointing to you as if you were on our first tour. There's the head, there's its fingers, there's its little heart, such a strong, strong beat. Finally, she spoke. We're going to have to do an internal. What I'm seeing is an 8-week fetus. I'll be able to get a better look inside. So I undressed and released my over-brimming bladder. I should have felt relief as I emptied myself, but all I could think of was something else being emptied too. Back on the hard bed, she poked an intrusive implement inside me. I saw you again. A flicker of black and white on the screen, like a little bird about to fly away from my reach. I felt a tear fall down the side of my face. Be strong, be strong. Chris tried to hold my hand, but I couldn't stand his touch just then. Perhaps because it'd make me cry, perhaps because this was somehow something I must endure alone. Who knows how we are going to react at times of loss. I'm sorry, the radiographer finally said. I'm not detecting a heartbeat. It appears the baby died at 8 weeks. My body stopped. I felt my lips clench, trying to clench back something more than tears. The specialist came in to double check the results. He was a professional kind of man. Of course he was sorry, but he kept talking so clinical, so procedure-like. I wanted him to stop. I wanted to damp my hand over his mouth, smother his clinical words. I wanted back the silence that I had dreaded before. And there was Chris's touch on my shoulder, closing in on me as if he wanted to hug me but was unsure. And I felt claustrophobic in that dark cave room. And I wanted him to shut up. I wanted to be untouched. And I just wanted to cry, but not here, not there, not in that intrusive place, humiliating place, an echo of your smudge still lingering on the screen. So I bit back my tears. You choked me from the inside. I choked on you. The tiny heart not beating, not pumping, not moving up and down. I was glad to leave that place, to walk out into the glove of sun. At least they gave me your scan and didn't charge me to confirm your death. That was kindness. The start of many tokens of kindness towards Chris and I. There were phone calls of quiet sorries, and they say these things happen for a reason. Perhaps the baby didn't have a lung. And warm hugs and foot massages from my sister, and sweet cards and chocolate in the mail, and the beep beep of text messages that brought a tear to my eye. I was thankful, so thankful for each word of love, of empathy, of understanding. Each one reminded me of our loss, but also of the many blessings in our lives, the amazing people around us, the bright future ahead. At home that night after the scan, Chris and I looked at the X-ray photos of you, some an incomprehensible smudge, as if someone had pressed their thumb on you and squashed you. But these were a few pictures of you where you had a face, such a small, tiny, perfect face. I cried and smiled at you and imagined you alive, swimming in my waters. I tried to show Chris your face, but he couldn't see. Urgently, frantically, I pointed at your eyes, your lips, your nose. Look, Chris, it's there. Tell me you see him. I needed Chris to see, to acknowledge that you had been, that you had a human form, that you had been ours. Finally, he picked your face and he let out a laugh and then a sigh, and we laughed and sighed together, especially at your nose, such a big nose like your father's. I slept well that night, thank goodness. But when I woke, it felt as if I'd been hit in the guts. That sudden sinking realization that it had not been a dream, that it was real. 2 days later, I went to my GP, Dr. Better, a shy, awkward South African man that phoned the gynecologist at the hospital straight away and got me booked in for a D&C. The gyno took one look at my scan and confirmed the baby had died at 8 weeks, but my uterus was the size of a 12-week one. If left to miscarry naturally, I could be faced with a lot of bleeding. My granny and granddad sat with me while I waited for the procedure. Granny's loud, ever-constant voice filling the quiet room of the hospital. The nurses were all lovely, prepping me for the procedure and general anaesthetic. I'd never had an operation before. If it wasn't for the situation, it would all be very exciting. I was left alone on the bed for a time. Everything had happened so fast that I'd had little time to think of you. Perhaps that had been good. I didn't want to cry. I needed to be brave. But for a moment I thought about the bleeding, the week before the scan. It had only been a tiny amount, once a day, a little blood for 4 days running. The first time I saw the pink on the toilet paper, I freaked out. No, this can't be happening, not to me. Neither of my sisters have had a miscarriage, not me. I had myself so worked up I had felt sick, even though I knew light spotting was very common and normal during pregnancy. Chris had said a prayer for me the next day. I yearned to hear his voice confidently and with the spirit say the baby would be okay, but his voice faltered as he said and only whispered that it would be safe and healthy. At Amen, I sat there slumped, tears burning my cheeks, filling my mouth with salt. Why did I not feel comforted? Why did I feel as if a heavy cloud was weighing on my shoulders? We both knew then not to expect a happy ending. But the spotting had cleared up. I had felt so much more optimistic. And then the scan. And then you and your heartless heart. When I woke up from the D&C procedure, my body was limp with anaesthetic. There was a nurse in the room. I called out to her in my horsey voice. I asked her, "Where were you? Where was my baby? Did you keep my baby?" And my words folded back and stumbled over tiny sobs. Empty. I was an empty bottle tossed out to sea. You were gone. So quick. A blink of an eye. No memory. No labouring cramps or clots or blood. Nothing but a limp body from an anaesthetic. Was this way better? Clean, quick, and certainly less painful. But such a lack of closure. Such a loss.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout Assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.